seeing increased interest in private equity funds, traditional leveraged buyout type private equity funds, in making investments in life sciences, primarily because of the growth of the pharmaceutical, biotechnology, and medical device industries. And that underlying growth is leading these investors to think about how they can make an investment in an industry that they've not traditionally made investments in. The first way that we're seeing private equity investors invest in the life sciences market is by investing in outsourced service providers and laboratory tools manufacturers. This is an investment play that finds companies providing support to this growing life science industry. Contract research organizations, or CROs, provide outsourced support to pharma and biotech companies in conducting clinical trials. They have personnel, technology, and access to clinical trial sites to help pharma and biotechs get their clinical trials done. Those clinical trials are obviously critical to getting new drugs on the market. Contract manufacturing is another investment sector opportunity. Contract manufacturers outsource the manufacture of a biotech drug. Currently, the biotech market is moving quickly towards gene editing and gene therapy drugs, and those drugs are more complicated to manufacture. Therefore, it takes more help from outsourced manufacturers to get them on the market. We also see private equity investors investing in life sciences tools companies. For example, KKR recently invested in Gamma Biosciences, which is a manufacturer of equipment that is used in gene therapy manufacturing. So by making the tools that are used by biotechs and pharma to get new products out of the lab, they're indirectly investing in the life sciences market. The second way we see private equity investors invest in life sciences is through investments in late-stage drugs. The best example of this is Blackstone's life sciences arm, which they don't do traditional buyouts of a pharmaceutical manufacturer. Instead, they provide financing for a late-stage drug that's still in development. The way those deals work is the pharmaceutical company receives a large sum of cash from the private equity investor. That cash is used to fund a phase 3 clinical trial and conduct other work necessary to get FDA approval. When the drug receives FDA approval and is launched, the pharma company repays the private equity investor their original investment amount plus interest. So that's a way that you don't have to necessarily do an equity investment in the pharma or biotech, but you can still get return from investing in a drug development cycle. The third investment opportunity for private equity funds in the life science market is to work with legacy pharmaceutical manufacturers to create new companies around older drug products, or drug products that just need a little more attention to get developed and out into the market. Recently, we saw Bain invest in a new co that they formed with assets that were spun out of Pfizer. They formed a company called Cerevel with a number of CNS assets, central nervous system drugs, that Pfizer didn't feel like were core to its market. This partnership brought additional capital into the life sciences market to help Cerevel develop these drugs and get them into patients' hands. And hopefully along the way, Bain will earn a nice return from their investment. While the life sciences market presents great investment opportunities for private equity investors, it's important to be aware of the due diligence that should be undertaken before entering in one of these investments. Unlike some of the traditional manufacturing and service businesses that private equity invests in, there's an added layer of regulatory and intellectual property due diligence that may be required. Private equity investors should cautiously look at intellectual property as it's the backbone of the life sciences industry. Patent due diligence, trademark due diligence, and even trade secret due diligence, understanding how products are made, how manufacturing services are provided, is critical. On the regulatory front, due diligence starts with FDA and EMA oversight of pharmaceutical and biotech companies and their development, manufacture, and distribution of drugs. DEA can also be important for certain types of drugs. To learn more about how McDermott helps private equity funds invest in the life science market, please visit us at www.mwe.com/lifescienceinvestments.